I used to play with some of my dancing songs. So every time you keep something different up on the screen, dancing song driven.
That really a clip from one of the movies.
That's just a made up for something like that. I can tell how much I know that song. We're gonna fix that. That's how great how we communicate, man. Me and my friends can have an entire evening where the conversation goes, nothing but movie quotes.
Unless you need anything else from me.
Which is really cool and pathetic at the exact same time, but. But if you gotta go back to Buckaroo Banzai, you can pull the quotes up there and know what's. Wow, who's with his throat?
You are.
You're like, yeah, I got it. Listen to me.
Oh, way past the estate bill. Wires around them. Sorry, Guy, do you already have one?
I'll take another look.
Oh, yep, and one for Andy.
Yep, thank you. Thank you.
Laura?
But thank you. Thank
I
you
made
for that.
10 of them.
Whoa, we're in the chair.
Okay. At
Wow.
least I'm in the room. Sharon, perfect timing.
You sorry.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the March 9th, 2026 work session for the City of Idaho Springs. And we're going to start off right at 5:30 because I have quite a few things to cover. I'd like to start off with Advocates Recovery and the Colorado Foothills Program.
Hi, my name is Sean Hedden. I'm with Advocates for Recovery Colorado, and I'm with their Foothills program. Basically, that spans Gilpin, Clear Creek, and Jefferson County. And so I just wanted to, before I kind of begin, I wanted to kind of present a question to y'all, and maybe just have you ponder that question for a little bit. Just a few minutes, a few seconds, not a few minutes, a few seconds. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. How does substance use impact your life, your family, and your community? Just kind of ponder that for a second. I'll kind of come back. I'll wrap around for that right now. So, like I said, my name's Sean. I am somebody in active and sustained recovery since 2013. What that means to me is basically I have broken up with alcohol in 2013. I decided to kind of choose to have a more manageable, more healthy life. And it's not that simple. I mean, my recovery is could probably be a novel or something like that. It could be a lot, but that's a basic general idea of what my recovery is, right? And so I'm really grateful to be with Advocates for Recovery Colorado because basically they support my recovery. Advocates for Recovery Colorado is a statewide organization. It's a recovery community organization. What that means is all the way from our executive director to our peer coach. And here's the peer coach right here is Trevor. I brought him to show off Trevor to you. Basically, he's one of our peer coaches here in Idaho Springs. And so we're peer run. We're people with lived experience. We're people who identify as people in recovery. And so that's very unique of an organization. And we've been around 25 years doing that. And so we've been doing peer run services. We're statewide. We're in Durango, Montrose, Delta, Sterling, Aurora, Westminster. We got an office in Pueblo now in Trinidad. And we have it in Idaho Springs and Jefferson County now. And so basically my story is important because recovery is important in communities and something that a lot of times is stigmatized because people are using or because people associate with substance use a lot of times recovery. But I'm here to say that Advocates for Recovery is here to support recovery in our community. And somebody like Trevor here is here to do that. And so what Advocates for Recovery does is peer run services. And so we do individual coaching services. And so what this looks like is kind of imagine that you're walking down a path you're alone on that path. And then somebody kind of comes up, supports you on that path, side by side. That's really what a coach is, a peer supporter. And so when I was like in recovery, a lot of the people that were close to me were people that shared their own lived experience, basically. And that's really what a peer recovery coach does. Somebody there who shares their lived experience, helps guide them on a recovery plan, helps nurture that path of recovery, basically, right? And so we're not counselors, we're not therapists or anything like that. We're just people in recovery that support other people in recovery, whatever that may look like to them. And since we believe in all paths of recovery, it could be something like sobriety. It could be somebody's trying to reduce their use. It could be somebody's trying just to quit pot, or just trying to quit cigarettes a lot of times. It's kind of different to everybody how recovery looks to somebody, right? And so that we really respect that. We're non-judgmental. We offer an empathetic ear to situations or to relation in our peer relationships, basically. We also offer, so we have at the Clear Creek Health and Wellness Center, we have a all recovery meeting. So we have all recovery meetings online and in person all over. But we have one here on Tuesday nights at 6:30 and to 8. And so this is something where people can come, they can be included. And basically it's an inclusive environment where people can support each other's recovery. And what that looks like is basically somebody can talk about their lived experience, what's happening during that day, what they're struggling with, and they can share it with others in that community. And they can ask questions. I know a lot of you might think like about AA and NA meetings. They're a little similar, but they're without like a lot of the spiritual stuff. And anybody can really join those meetings also. And so we also have something called crosstalk, so we can actually ask questions and talk, have a dialogue within the room. It's a very mutually aid sort of environment, basically. We share resources with each other. We ask questions. We support each other and advocate for each other. Okay. We also have social activities. So we have a huge rally for recovery every year down in Civic Center Park. Everybody from all over the state comes to this. It's the biggest recovery event in the state. We have thousands of people, 175 vendors. We feed free hot dogs. I'm the hot dog guy because I get about 2,000 hot dogs last year that were given away. A lot of hot dogs. That's, I dream of hot dogs now, basically. But we have this really big event at Civic Center Park. We're going to actually have it at Cheeseman this year, just because it's the Civic Center Park is getting construction. So that's like a big event that we do every year. But we also do small events. So Trevor's had potlucks and barbecues already. We had one at the community center in January, or the rec center, basically. We also have had a cemetery ghost tour. So these are free events to people who are in recovery, but also community members also. We like to include the community into our events also, because it helps reduce stigma in that community, right? And so we have people in recovery and people that are within the actual community or allies of that community that are invited to these community events also. What else do we have? We have things called peer recovery groups also. And so we don't have one in Idaho Springs yet, but I'd like to get one here. Basically, they're courses where we facilitate things like 8 dimensions of wellness and recovery capital techniques with folks. And we do this in places like the Denver Rescue Mission, a place called Recovery Works in Jefferson County. It would be great to have one here too, but well, there is lack of resources within Idaho Springs and what county are we? Clear Creek County, sorry. In Clear Creek County as well. And so we have those groups. I'd love to get one here. It's just hard to find because we don't have a lot of resources. We don't have a lot of places that have like sober homes. We don't have a lot of places that have IOP places. Basically, everybody has to go to Denver basically for those resources. And that's kind of why I'm here, is really just to let you know about us, that we're in this community. We're looking for allies, we're looking for advocates within this community. we're looking for people that just recognize that we're in this community. I would love to have a big rally for recovery in Idaho Springs. That would be my dream, basically. And so I would love to have the community come together, celebrate recovery with each other, and fight that stigma, because we got a lot of people in this community that are isolated. We got a lot of people that are kind of living up in the hills and kind of on their own. They're probably in really bad shape. That's what I've been hearing anyway. I hear it from Trevor, who lives here, right? I'm in Jefferson County, so I gotta admit, I'm not from here. But I do recognize and listen to this community, and I feel like it can be in bad shape, a lot of people here, right? And so they need that recovery source. There aren't a lot of resources here. And so we got a grant. Basically, it's called the Gateway to the Rockies Opioid Grant. So those opioid settlement dollars, when all the prescription companies came together and they settled upon that, they were dispersed among the United States. And so the region is Gilpin, Jefferson, and Clear Creek County. And so that's the disbursement area for that grant, for those funds, basically, and we were given those funds. And so that's why we're here. We started here, when did we get an office here? Yeah, about 9 months or so. So we've been here about 9 months. We have 2 offices up in the Clear Creek Health and Wellness Center, one for Trevor and one for Lindsay, who is our Gilpin coach. So we have a Gilpin and we have a Clear Creek coach that are both here. Lindsay can also coach in Clear Creek also, because Gilpin can be so even more isolated than Idaho Springs in a lot of ways. And so we offer those services. That's about all I got on AFRC and what we're doing here. We also do have transportation available too, to events. So we got in our grant ability to have a Telluride basically. And so we can transport people to our events, to meetings, to our one-on-one sessions, things like that. And so we have that availability, and also to other recovery related activities. We can also transport people to. We also offer trainings too. These are the only thing that is not a free service. So all our services are free. We don't need insurance. We don't need anything like that. All of our services are free. Okay, now I'm going to come back to that question. I want you to ponder it for a second. How does substance use impact your life, your family, your community? Does anybody want to answer that? I'm trying to.
Well, I would just say there's probably not a person at this table that it hasn't touched. I mean, what you've heard is probably quite accurate, but I would suggest every foothill community could use some serious help in recovery. I mean, if folks think that that's not the case, I'm afraid they're either misinformed or just callous to the issue, because it of course affects a great many people in this county. And you're amongst friends, so please don't be nervous. Thank you for coming in and talking about this, letting us know, and not being afraid to talk about it. But I'd like to open it up to everybody else to answer your question, and perhaps they have a question of their own. Janine?
Well, yeah, so I sit on G-Rock, so I'm very familiar with your work, and I'm glad that you were able to grant your work. I see it a lot in my professional life. My organization serves children who've been affected by abuse and neglect, and substance use is a huge contributing factor in that, and I see it all the time in this county, and I know Springs in this community, so it's something I'm very, very aware of, and have been an advocate for you all coming in here, and I'm so glad that you're serving Idaho Springs in the issue.
Yeah, that's excellent. Sharon?
I worked at the library for a number of years and saw people coming in, whether it was a patron, whether it was a parent, whether it was a teen. So I've seen it, and I've been here for 21 years, and I've worked in bars and worked in restaurants and been around, but I've definitely seen it in the community.
You've seen a lot of self-medication and,
Yeah, so I definitely know that there's a place for it in our community for sure. I just thinking about the different resources in our city and in our community and how to get people involved. I did like the fact that you have transportation for people, I think that's huge up here. I think that's a really big part of the isolation a lot of the time, is that they're just where they are and can't make it down the hill for a lot of things. And so I think that that is incredibly beneficial in our community. to have that.
Yeah, Jeremy, boy, you've seen more than your fair share of issues over the years as well.
Pretty consistent, but I'm just glad you guys are in a community. I think it's a big deal.
Mhm.
Do I think we need more services? 100%. We're probably 20 years behind on putting services in the community, so you guys are making great headway. That's huge.
I'd say one of the biggest struggles, or one of the biggest places that we'd be able to impact would be the jail. I've tried getting in there and we're declined.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I reached out to
Sure, Harris.
George Marlin
Oh,
about it for some extra, but
Mhm.
you know, because I know a lot of those guys, they're isolated in there, they don't have any kind of AA meetings, or and they get out with no recovery resources, and the recidivism rate is very high, to reoffend or to not be able to comply with the probation stipulations, because they're right back to drinking and failing UA. So
Yeah,
any kind of assistance getting in the county jail, to be able to support the inmates there, because they have a trusted ally while they're incarcerated that they would be able to rely on for, because we're also resource brokers as well. So for, whatever, like whether it's detoxes or rehabs, things like that, we can assist with that. I grew up in this community. When I was 17, I moved back here a couple of years ago, when I got sober myself and found out Advocates for Recovery, when I was in rehab. So I dedicated my life to it, but just knowing the community, I think that would make a massive impact on people, because I know a lot of people, it's a revolving door. They get out of jail and they're right back in there, and so any kind of assistance with hitting that side of the community would be definitely beneficial, and just word of mouth would be really helpful to do.
yeah. Lisa, your thoughts?
Like everybody else here, I have friends and family who have dealt with addiction or are dealing with addiction. I do see it in the community, and I think transportation is huge. There's a huge lack of transportation and reliable public transportation. I think the idea of working with folks who are in jail, giving them some help before they get out again and they're left without anything is really important. I think, you talked about not having sober living. That one's gonna be a tough one in this county like that. It's just,
Every community, yeah.
well, no, but it's not even that it's communities that we don't have a lot of places to put things.
Right.
And so where are you on the list? I don't know. Everybody's on the list. But I think the more that we can offer people, and I think transport is huge. Like that is a game changer with a lot of different services. That might be like working, if we can help them with the jail, but also help them with how do we get the word out about transport? Because a lot of times people don't know that there are services available to help them with transport.
Right.
We've got no requests for that as of yet. So,
Really?
We have a very nice brand new car that we bought and everything, so.
But do people know about it?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is word of mouth. And I put, we have our websites, and I put flyers up around town that, people can look at, like at the rec center and, some restaurants and stuff. But it's not I've reached out to the Clear Creek Current trying to, get an interview. I haven't had any response back as far
Bathroom at
as,
the Gold Pan?
what's that?
Bathroom at the Gold Pan?
Yeah.
I'm not even being funny.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
dead serious.
Yeah.
Where would you
I
go?
had one up in the liquor
folks who
store, so,
are looking for third places where they can be.
Yeah.
Library, the library.
Good idea.
I had one at the library in Georgetown, yeah, it was nice. Sometimes they get put up and then taken down. They don't, and sometimes every once in a while, like I'll get a call saying I saw it, but it's not a lot of response from things like that.
Do you know, does your program, have they had luck with other jails?
Yeah, so George Brown was looking into that other counties, because I know quite a few recovery coaches that there are organizations where they're more boots on the ground, so they're in prisons, they're in lockdown facilities, jails.
But our organization hasn't,
Yeah,
in particular, no.
right,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, there are counties that are definitely utilizing that, and it's effective.
It's been difficult in the past too, because I think our organization tried the Brighton jail before, but it was a lot of just red tape trying to get in. And a lot of people also are in recovery too, so they have a record. And that can be, it's kind of a hypocritical, like, because you have somebody who has a record that wants to help the people that are in jail.
Right.
You know, but that's the people in recovery. They're gonna be people that have records. It's just how it is. So, so it's a little, yeah, a lot of red tape that happens.
I feel like connecting directly to people. I think flyering and information that way is good, but actually. I don't know how, like, I just keep racking my, like, trying to figure out how. I think it's a difficult thing for people to ask for help for. And hard to come to terms with themselves that they have it, so it's just seeing a flyer might not be. Exactly what gets them.
Going to the Do Talk dinners.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
I'm a part of that.
Oh, cool,
I'm
yeah,
supposed to
that-
host tonight, but can't be there.
Because you're here,
Yeah.
thank you, okay,
No,
good.
that's
Just thinking
definitely-
like how to get in front of people,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, it's a good resource.
Yeah.
So just so you know, it's a work session, so we don't take official action. But I certainly would like general sentiment from council. Only because when we're talking about county jail, these are our people too. We're the biggest population center in the county, so frankly, we probably even have a disproportionately high number in the jail. But would everybody like to see, if we can get through the red tape, help available for those who want it? As a resource, these folks been able to get in and talk with folks that would like to see that, because I'm seeing a unanimous head nod there, so that's telling me that we probably can make some headway, and we certainly get along as a city very well with the county. And I would not mind expressing to the county that all of us believe that would be a real plus.
That'd be fantastic.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
And I'm sure, I want to apologize to you because time is short, and I just got to get to some of these other items, but I'm happy to say, I think we may be able to give a positive nudge where it might be able to do some good, so.
Nice.
Really be appreciated.
Can I stay in touch with Janine?
Sure.
Janine is just an excellent resource.
Okay.
In my opinion, particularly on matters such as this. The other excellent resource, I would say, is our police chief. And his wife is actually active in the county with mental health professionals.
George Marlin started knocking on the door, so he's aware of it as well. So.
Yeah. George is consistently trying to do the best for the community. So I think the way that you have framed this is very appropriate. And I think we have responsible leadership with the commissioners. And George, although he looks amazingly young, you think he started when he was 14. Or he actually is he is the longest serving commissioner.
Yeah.
But I think that was an excellent contact that you made with the county. And we, like I said, it's obvious that we would support being able to get in, make a difference where you can.
Awesome. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much
Thank you
for coming in
Yeah.
and sharing.
For having
so
us.
Thank you.
Guys, have a great night.
Thank you.
Too. The next up, we have got Safe Built and International Building Codes. Welcome.
Can you review that real quick?
I'm sorry.
As you guys know, we're gonna be updating our building codes. This is Safe Build's gone through and put together a presentation. first review those. Alejandro, who's our building official, was gonna be part of this. He had a family emergency. But Ricky's actually the one that put this all together and knows the codes and everything like that, so we're in good hands.
So I'm Ricky Brewster, building inspector with Safe Built. I've been with Safe Built since August of 2024, and I've just really fallen in love with building safety. And it's been a passion project of mine for the last couple of years. So we put together this presentation to go over just some of the changes between the 2018 codes, what we're on now, and the 2024 codes. A lot of this is going to be residential and energy codes. Nothing really changed in the commercial side of things. They just kind of cleared up some confusion. So we'll go through a lot of the residential stuff. We'll touch on energy and then we'll get to the Colorado state mandated energy codes. So next slide. So this was the first big change. This change happened in all of the international codes. So chapter 1 of all the codes gets the scope and administration, the duties of the building official. And a lot of it was up to interpretation when buildings got outside of the model codes. So you might see something like pictured up here. You're not going to see any regulations in the building codes. So it's up to the building official to determine what is safe and what is approved. So they went through and added new sections, new subsections, to give building officials guidance on how to go about testing and getting engineer reports and just making sure that everything is safe and up to standard. Next slide. So one thing that's been in the codes for a long time is residential fire sprinkler. A lot of cities have amended it out of the codes, and we've talked about adding it back in because there's just not good evidence to remove it. The NFPA reports 3,800 deaths in 2022, and 72% of those are inside the home. A fire can turn deadly in 2 minutes. Response time is not quite that quick. So the increase in construction cost is, as I've found, is a maximum of 3% of the total cost of construction. And with a survival rate of 89%, it's hard to justify removing that. A lot of people worry if my sprinkler goes off, will it flood the house? The sprinkler only goes off where the fire is. So all the other sprinklers, they just stay. They have little glass vials in them that break at a certain temperature and release the water. So you might have 750 gallons per minute flowing through the sprinkler, and it will cause some water damage. But if you don't have sprinklers and the fire department shows up, they're pumping 10 times that water amount into your home. So water damage is minimal, and once they're installed and the covers are on, you can barely even tell they're there. You don't have to worry about your kid throwing something and busting it or anything like that. Next slide. So the residential code had updated some of their fire protection wording in for 2-family duplexes. So they want to see that dwelling units that are stacked on top of each other, that let's say somebody in unit B there has a kitchen fire. And then that heat is gonna go straight up into the next unit. So they've added, smoke detectors that will alarm the person that lives above you. If your smoke detectors go off, they get a notification. And same way the other way around. So if there's any issue in the duplex, everybody knows about it. They also try to limit the transfer of smoke. Smoke damage and smoke injuries are a big part of fires. And any shared stairways or anything, we want to just make sure that smoke is limited from transferring from one unit to the other and people can get out safely. Next slide. So they've added a couple new sections that they weren't addressed in the 2018 or the 2021 editions of the code, is sleeping law. With affordable housing and we're kind of running out of space to build homes. So people are trying to fit as many sleeping areas as they can in a home without making it bigger. So sleeping lofts is a great way to do that. Before it was just kind of up in the air, the building official kind of decides what's safe, what's not. But now there's a new section that it tells you if you have a ladder, how you can build the ladder and guardrails on the edge there to keep people from falling off onto the bottom floor. Then another thing, handrails. Handrails were a little section buried in a massive section about stairs and guards and it was hard to find, it was confusing. So they've cleared up the wording and they've just put it in its own subsection. So there's, if your stairway has 4 or more risers, you need a handrail and these are the requirements. It just kind of clears up. We've had a lot of confusion with handrails and how far they extend and whatnot. So that just kind of helps us out there. Next slide. And energy storage. A lot of solar energy systems that people are installing now have battery backup. And batteries, they can cause fires. They're not the safest they could be. So they've really expanded the protection for batteries, especially in garages. There's been issues of batteries that are mounted on the wall in the garage and then people drive their vehicle into it and it can cause a fire. And some people will put their batteries inside of closets and those can start a fire and you won't know until it's too late. So we've added some vehicle protection, some little curb stops you can put on the right in front of the batteries or big yellow bollards, however you want to do that. It gives us a nice little map to show us what's subject to damage and what we can do with the garage space we have. Next slide. Guardrail supports. So guardrails have always been a requirement. They're required to withstand 200 pounds of force. And people were still getting injured year after year. And they couldn't figure out why. So the people that manufacture the guardrails had studied it. And they said, our guardrail's fine. But they were just screwed to the floor and the whole floor had toppled over. So now they've added supports in the floor joist or wherever the guard is mounted. There's solid wood blocking all along that. So when they attach their guardrail, it's secured, tied in with the structure, and there's no way that it could fail before the guardrail. Next slide. The National Electric Code it's adopted by the state every 3 years in August. This year will be August 1st, we'll adopt the 2026. It's a requirement that all electricians in the state follow the state adopted code. So in our proposal, we've changed the wording in the under National Electric Code to say as adopted by the state of Colorado. Right now, it says, the 2020 edition of the NEC, and we're well past that now. And it's just kind of obsolete. So we've just cleared that up. So anybody doing electric work in the city will just follow the state mandated laws. Next slide. So the Energy Conservation Code. There's been a lot of talk about energy conservation, and requirements have really tightened down on the insulation requirements and types of heating you can use in your home. But the National Home Builders Association had did a study, and from 2018 to 2024, the energy requirements have actually decreased cost of construction by $100 on average. It also saves money for the homeowner in the long run. We're looking at 12.9% energy usage decrease for all electric appliances and 21.4% decrease on all gas appliances. It saves money for everybody, and it just gets better every time they update it. So now we'll go to the state has mandated this extra code to go along with the energy code called the Model Electric Ready and Solar Ready Code. It's kind of a mouthful. But they made it mandatory to adopt this code up until June 30th of this year. And then after June 30th, we look at a whole new energy code that's put out by the state that we have to adopt. So for this electric ready code, all new buildings must have provisions for all electric appliances. So you can still put in your gas appliances, gas stove, gas heater, but the electrician has to run the wire and set it up for an electric appliance if you ever want to change down the road. The idea is that like Excel and other energy providers are going full renewable energy. So if your house runs all electric and your utility company uses renewable energy, we're cutting down carbon emissions and also making it easier if you want to change appliances later on. It also requires that they provide provisions for solar panels on every building. They don't have to run any wire. They don't have to install anything. They just have to make sure that the roof trusses can support the panels and that there's space in the electrical panel to add solar if you ever want to. We've had over 81,000 solar systems installed in the state, and it just keeps going up and up. Then the last one, they want provisions for electric vehicle chargers for every residential parking space and a certain percentage of commercial parking spaces. A lot of people are buying electric cars, and before I worked at Safe Build, I was an electrician, mostly residential. And I would say 70% of my job was installing electric chargers. And so for new buildings and some remodeled buildings, they're required to put in the provisions for chargers later on. It will save money in the long run. They don't have to cut out drywall and run new wire. It's just already set up and ready to go. Next slide. So there are exemptions because this can get very expensive, especially with historical buildings. We have quite a few historical buildings here, and we don't want to make everyone go in and put chargers, and it would just make it ugly and it wouldn't match. So for historical buildings, the building department just needs a letter that says, we can't do these chargers or this solar, because it will threaten, degrade, or destroy the historic form of the building. And this exception can be applied to any energy code at all, not just the electric and solar and charger. Also, if the solar, electric, and charger code will increase construction costs by more than 1% of the total cost, then they can be exempt from that, just to get it down to where they're less than 1% of the cost. So maybe we can admit vehicle chargers, but we still have them do set up for solar. And that it's all done on a case-by-case basis. The permit applicant will submit a letter just explaining everything, why they think they don't need it and any calculations, and it will get reviewed and approved. All right, last slide. This slide wasn't in some of the earlier packets. I added this kind of last minute. But this is the new wildfire resiliency code published by the state. After the Marshall Fire in Superior, the state put together a Senate bill that established a board. It says they did some studies and what can they do to slow down wildfires? Wildfires are going to happen. They happen every year here. And if it doesn't rain much, it's not going to be great this year. But they've put in some regulations for landscaping, some regulations for like exterior siding and roofing. So if the fire gets to your house, maybe it won't come onto your property or catch your house on fire, or at least slow it down until it can get put out. So the city is completely under the highest intensity fire classification they have. The state has put together this map to show different intensity levels for different areas, and everything in city limits is in red. So that's going to require roofing materials to be Class A fire rated. So siding material has to be either non-combustible or fire rated to a certain amount. Any landscaping near the house, I can't remember the exact number, but within a few feet of the foundation, it has to be all non-combustible. You can do rock or dirt. And there's some other regulations for landscaping. I'm not too familiar with landscaping. I've never done it. But we're hoping to at least save some structures, because we can't really stop wildfires. And I believe that is everything.
Well, thank you. That was very interesting. I want to ask you, just to make sure I'm following you. As you look around, we have very few places we can build. We still have permits, somebody may build a garage. But speaking of that, let's say I build a 2-car garage. Would I have to put 2 electric chargers?
So if you have 2 parking spaces, 2-car garage, you can do 1 charger as long as it's within 3 feet of each parking space.
Okay.
So right in the middle, then that's fine.
And then just a follow-up as far as city responsibility. Let's say we put in 50 new parking spaces. What are we obligated to put in as far as electric chargers?
I can get you the exact number. It's gonna be, I believe, 15% of parking spaces.
Oh, really?
Let me find it real quick.
And I ask because, as you probably know, just from looking around, many of those parking spaces would go unused. Because currently we don't have 15% of our visitors that need to pull into an electric car charging space.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm saying, at least at this point, we would have to overbuild if you wanted 50 spaces, frankly, you might have to put in 60 to ever have 50 always full.
Oh,
If you-
yeah.
Because at 60, you'd have to have 9 electric car chargers
Hmm.
in there, so.
So, this code only applies to either new buildings or buildings that have been remodeled more than 50%.
Okay.
Because
What we're in the midst of doing is, say hypothetically, we develop a new parking lot. That would come under the state mandate.
No building.
No.
no,
Oh,
yeah.
no good?
So
Just
just
parking for
commercial
buildings.
building,
Yeah.
I have to meet the parking, energy requirements for parking. If I'm just bulldozing an open lot and paving it, that's not a building, therefore doesn't fall into the code.
That's good enough. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Problem alleviated.
Yeah.
Very good.
But for commercial buildings, if you have less than 10 parking spaces, you only need 2 that are ready for chargers. You don't have to install the charger, you just have to have the electric there in case you want to.
Okay. All right.
If you have more than 10 spaces, then you need at least 10% of those to be ready for charge.
Well, this is good to know, particularly if we ever do get funding to construct the parking garage. That's kind of a different.
So that will fall under the
Yeah.
code, 100%.
Jeremy, I'd like to start with you. Any questions?
No,
Probably pretty
I
good.
think it's good.
Yeah.
There's more stuff and there's other changes in the 18 code, like storage units, requirements for sprinklers and storage units and all this is changing. It doesn't apply here currently, but it does in the county. There's 2 projects in the county. So there's a lot of things that were wonky in the 18 code. They fixed it in 21 code and they tweaked them a little bit more than 24 code. At least that I found so far digging into some changes, so.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the fire code. There's been a few changes in commercial. But there's, yeah, a lot of it's just been stuff that was wonky that people were building and they realized, hey, we can't do this, or this isn't safe. And they get together every 3 years and update the codes, and anybody submits a code proposal to the code council, they argue it and approve it or deny it.
All right. Lisa, questions?
Yeah, so does do all of these code changes apply for either new builds or renovation of 50% or more?
So the 50% or more is just for the model electric ready and solar ready code.
How about the fire mitigation?
The fire mitigation is, I believe, the same requirement on that.
New?
So the existing buildings are exempted unless you modify, if you modify 50% or more or change of use, which doesn't
Okay.
go into a code review, then you have to comply. That's
Just
kind of,
'cause
that's the caveat, it's 50% of the building, new construction or change of use.
Because I absolutely want fire mitigation, but all of us being high intensity, that's gonna
Wow.
increase costs. Yeah, but. the insurance
All the
company-
mapping really did from the state is put us in the category 1 zone for everything. Which means distance from other buildings, 1 hour walls, there's a bunch of requirements that come with 1 versus 2. Yeah, but we've already adopted that, so we're happy with it.
Janine, thoughts?
I don't think I have any questions.
Okay.
That makes sense.
All right, Sharon, do you have any?
Yeah, no, I don't have any questions. either.
Well, I want to thank you, very informative. And, yeah, I, will look forward to, having these come up and, I think it's probably gonna be unanimous, vote them in.
All right. Well, thank you.
We look forward to working with you.
County adopts this next week, just so you guys have background.
Oh, the county had,
The same code package as published.
Oh, okay.
Happened on the 17th.
well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it does, especially if you're gonna go with like a multi-jurisdictional housing authority, it just makes it easier if we align codes, so.
Fire's working on it currently, Georgetown's working on the same thing, and I have talked to several of them that are working.
Yeah, well, that's good, all right.
Mayor,
Yes,
the ordinance to adopt these updated codes, the 2021 will be at our next city council meeting, first reading.
yep, that sounds real good,
And
appreciate it.
the goal or the objective is to get them adopted by July 1st. effective July first.
All right, sounds good. Next up, Sadie, welcome. Come on down. We're gonna
Not
talk
with me, I'm
about
gonna make them come with me.
managed parking contract update recommendations.
Pull up another chair there if you like, so you all.
Yeah, feel free. Come on up.
So what,
Somebody can sit next to Sharon
Oh, that was an excellent.
Gareth can take a couple. Yeah.
I'll take comfort anyway.
I'll go through the report.
You go to, I apologize.
then. Oh, see you later. By the way, just so you know, this is a minimum quorum, so nobody gets sick.
Yeah, nobody.
Now you're
Lock the
trapped.
door.
Doesn't matter so much in work session, but here at 7 o'clock. So, hey, good to see you.
Guys, I'm gonna let Guy start.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go through the report and then I was gonna open up to, Interstate, if they had any comments or anything you wanted to add. And then the last page is from the Business Community Promotions Board and Sadie can speak to that.
Right.
So, through this report, I just went through in chunks, that kind of put sections of the contract together and evaluated them. So I'll go through these real quick. The operations and administration, everything is working the way it needs to be working. The contract does require periodic updates to council, and I think for their benefit and our benefit, it would be to standardize those. I would recommend June and December, kind of gets you into your budget conversations and is an end of the year review. Or it could be July and January, get you a little closer to budget into your review. That's something we can work with them on. Financial management and reporting is going along fine. If we were to ask them for an audit of their books, I think they would be able to accomplish that just fine. One of the questions we have is how to handle long-term guest permits for downtown hotels. And does the city want to consider permits for regular recurring visitors to the Virginia Canyon Mountain Park? But those are policy questions. And I know that Sadie will be covering one of those. Technology and data. Everything's moving along. The dynamic real-time parking signage has not been installed, and that is not part of the wayfinding grant. That's a separate part. But that is when we get busier to say this area is closed or parking down here or something to lead people around. And that is something that I think we need to have a fuller discussion and get prepared for the summer season. Performance measurements and KPIs. The contract anticipates the development and publication of KPIs. This is something new to Interstate, and so they still are working on that, but that's something that you want to get wrapped up and get onto our website. Wayfinding and signage. The rest of the wayfinding has kind of made its way into the wayfinding project with the city. So that's good. That means it's paid for largely by a grant, and it is involved a lot of people from around the community being involved in that. So I think that's excellent. I don't know where we are on installation of that. So I don't know what this summer is going to look like for wayfinding when it comes to parking. And that's something that city, I think, can touch on. Although as we know, the entire wayfinding project is going really well. Good. Customer service and workforce, they have not need to hire additional staff, so that's fine. Programs and incentives. One of the tools is a complimentary parking for customers paid by local businesses. That's been made available, but right now, it's my understanding, we have no participating businesses. So that is either they don't want it or it's not attractive enough, but I think there's a conversation going with the businesses about that.
And if I understand correctly, that the business that adopts this, well, and they sign off on parking, and they pay for the parking, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It's a voucher program.
Okay.
Overall summary, I've not identified any issues that suggest this program is moving in the wrong direction or as unintended consequences. Everything's moving the way it should. I do want to get the data from them, the KPIs, the signage stuff this summer. So there's still things that we're working on. This is a document that was never going to be exactly 100% from the start. It's a document that's expected things to be coming down the line. But overall, I think it's going fine. And I did add some, graphs and some data, in back, the historic rate changes. And then you can see on any of the graphs that are multi-year, you can see where those rate changes happened. I will say the only thing I'll point out about the data is this one where I've got all 5 years graphed. You can see that one. If you look for 2021 to 2024, when they got between month 10 and month 12, you see those, they rebound. If you look at 2025, there's no rebound. And I'm curious as to why. But that's the only number thing that really jumped out at me. There's some smaller things in here, but I think for policy discussions, that is something to flag. So, any questions about this report or how I put it together?
No, that was very helpful, especially the graphs. Not so much November through December, but certainly lately, no snow has just killed everybody.
Yeah.
I think we're lucky, not to editorialize, but just that we're not down 15 or 20% like many of our neighbors, even immediate neighbors. So that just no snow has been abysmal.
Anything from Kirsten?
Well, there's a power outage too, which was not,
Oh, yeah.
that was not good. Yeah, and then of course the construction too. Like I was saying to you, like I live in Evergreen and people just don't want to come here because they're just like, am I gonna get in that traffic, right?
Right, right. In fact, I think, speaking of Evergreen, weren't you out for like 6 days or something like that?
6
Yeah, they
days.
were.
For
Yeah,
power.
with
Yeah.
Power, right? So,
We left. We're out of here.
yeah,
And Golden got hit hard too.
Yeah.
Golden got hit really hard, so.
and I think we're going to be in a lot better shape in April. CDOT has mentioned that the blasting
It's
is
gonna be done.
basically done.
Yeah, end of April, beginning of May.
Yeah.
And the blasting will be off the roads, right?
Then there won't, you won't have to play Russian roulette with, am I gonna get a 45-minute delay?
Exactly.
Because if you are, like this summer, you may elect to go with the trailhead up 285 or
Right.
up around Boulder or something. You know, we're lucky in the state that we have a lot of beautiful locations to go to unless you absolutely have to go to an I-70 ski area.
Right.
You can avoid this. And I don't doubt for 1 second that's exactly what's happening.
Oh, we go to Eldora, right?
Oh, yeah,
Whatever.
there you go.
Yeah, but I mean, now when you come around the curve here, when it goes out to 4 lanes, that's awesome. I think that's gonna be huge, right?
Yeah.
You get the gondola going and the cable car and the bike park is only getting more and more popular. People are talking about it every day.
Yeah, so I do think that's a good compliment, because folks of all different physical abilities will be able to, you know, if you want to just put your bike on to go to the top, and
Right.
we're all in good enough shape to go down. So, you know, I do think that'll be another element of fun, you know, so I think they'll be busier.
Yeah, and when they get the theater up there and everything else, it's just gonna make people stay longer. I think that's one of the big things we see in the numbers, is trying to get people to stay 4 or 5 hours instead of, you know, coming for dinner and then.
Yeah, exactly.
To get that cycle.
Right.
And that's gonna be exciting.
Well, thanks, Guy. That was very helpful.
Is there anything that you guys want from their semi-annual reports? What's information that would be good for you that you would like to see them provide?
Definitely, I'd like to see, like, what is the revenue like? I like seeing the revenue from year to year, particularly with the pricing changes. How is their staffing going? I know occasionally there have been staffing challenges, you know, either not enough or people are having challenges with staff. You know, it just depends on what the individual is. I think that's what I would like to see. Because it's 10 years since we've instituted paid parking. We still hear about paid parking. So my goal is to make this as positive as possible. I think continuing, I know it's a big pain in your neck, but I think continuing the helping with residents register is really important. Like, I think that is helping. I don't go into our local community groups much, or city can tell you, except for parking, because I'm like, go register. So the more we can get that out and make this a non-issue for the people that live here, I think the better.
Yeah, we were doing that today, right?
About 14 people.
Oh, good, good.
We have 2 dates for March, so.
And I agree with Lisa, just continuing to help local folks. And by the way, I have found Interstate to be very responsive. Whenever there's a problem, it's like, it's just taken care of. I've talked to Sadie, and I believe she's gonna agree. It has just gone excellent every time. So when there is a snarl,
Yes.
it's quickly corrected, and I could not be happier with that.
I want to say too, I have dropped your name, Jessica. I've been like, just email and talk to Jessica. She will take care of it. And I think having a name, no, but I think having a name and a person that is an actual person and not a customer service, menu helps. I think
Yeah.
that really helps.
How she doesn't day drink more, I have no idea.
Well, you don't know, right?
Vodka is
Clear.
odorless. Is there, to do their reports, what would be a good time for you? I think one summer, one winter, obviously, but to help set you up for budget or help to do a review or just so they know when they need to be coming back in.
I have a suggestion just because I think it'd be so easy. Jessica, I always find her reports once a month to be excellent. And it's even broke down by the performance of every individual lot, how they're doing or how many citations had to be issued. So I think it might be beneficial to council if merely Jessica just added other council members to the report. I don't know that she hasn't already. She may have, but I know I always get it, and I always find it very helpful.
There was key performance indicators we created in the contract or were gonna be created.
We didn't outline what the questions were, we outlined that we wanted them.
Okay.
And so I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they're trying to figure a way to kind of make it live
Right.
so that the KPIs change.
Yeah,
Which has
seeing
been a
them
technical
like we have
challenge.
like a dashboard that like Guy and I have access to that we can log in and we kind of look at a dashboard and it shows us lot capacity and revenue and average ticket rate and all that stuff. So like those are kind of what we're seeing. We're just kind of looking at metrics, I think, of like what are the things we want to be measuring as we're continuing to kind of understand, especially this year. What Jessica and I have been talking about is using this year as kind of the model year, especially now that we have the full system now online, is kind of understanding what are the things that kind of show health. What are the things like what number of citations, change in citations, resolutions, those kind of things as indicators of if it's working or not.
But we're trying to get that to where it's on our website so that every citizen can see at least
Right.
4 to 6 things that help show the health of the program.
I would also like to see, it just made me think of this. I didn't, because I don't get that report. I would like to see that
Right, yeah.
report. But what lots are our more clearly the downtown lots, but we have some lots that are not directly downtown. I would like to see, I'm gonna be honest, was this a worthwhile purchase for the city?
Right.
Yeah. Is this lot living up to what we hoped for when we bought the property?
Absolutely.
I think with like the Creekside lot, that's what we're calling it, we'll see more data over the summer for that one.
I would,
Because it just went live in
Yeah.
November. I don't have a lot of data.
I also think we have to, like, messaging wise, we're messaging that to VCamp users. So that's kind of being messaged as a VCamp lot. So once the park is reopened, Comba and I have worked some strategic messaging around messaging to the trail users.
If you see the live data and you're tracking lots, are you guys tracking like how many cars are in a lot on a given day? I don't know how deep your metrics go.
Yeah.
Is that something, I'm thinking like the airport tells you, this lot is closed, but this lot is open.
Yeah.
And it helps direct people,
Right.
because people don't wanna drive around looking for parking. If you give them, here are your choices.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's better, like that would be something.
There's only a certain amount of that we can do because we don't have cameras. You
Okay.
have to understand that how we're tracking lot capacity right now is a physical person walking around and
Gotcha.
checking plates, as well as the transactions that are going
Transactions,
through
yeah.
the system as well. So you got
That's
two
what I was asking, like,
things.
what kind of metrics is that possible?
Yeah, the only, what you're counting on is people completing the transaction at the right time, and you count that means that they're there and that they're gonna be there for the time in which they say they're going to be there. Hence why we have to have enforcement. Without real cameras, the lot full thing is like as much as we can,
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty accurate, but
Yeah, I
it,
think
it's pretty close,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you can look at it like on any given Saturday, I can go on there and see like back lot is full.
Is that how they do it in Breck, where like you drive into town, there's those signs and it tells you what
Mhm,
lots
yeah.
are open, it's cameras?
Yeah, we have cameras in Breck.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, Guy, you have any more questions?
I don't, and so he's got the last page to follow up.
Yeah, so we kind of touched on this a little bit, but we are working on pushing the new resident portal. Kind of from a conversation point with Interstate, the business community and everyone, we kind of decided, you know, May 1st is kind of the line where it's gonna be like, we're gonna start ticketing residents that might not be registered in the new portal. But we've done a ton of push. We've seen
have.
a lot more participation
Yes.
now. We're better than we were. Obviously, you know, who was registered in the pre-portal to who is registered now in the resident portal. We're still not quite to where we thought we would be, but we're a lot closer
Yeah.
than we were.
Especially at the library sessions, we've gotten a lot of people come in and registered through that system. And then we have those running every other Monday until May 1st.
Yeah.
So, it's been helpful.
Excellent.
Is there a way, like after May 1st, if they've gotten a ticket, it could be if you have your car registered within 2 weeks of getting the ticket, then maybe that ticket gets.
We
waived.
generally do that anyway. I think what's important to note is that if any resident gets a ticket, like there's a pretty immediate resolution process. Like even if they don't contact me and they just go straight to Interstate, Interstate has a resident resolution process.
Yeah, I
That's
know that-
different than the visitor ticket resolution process.
I should know if that might be like. Cause I know like my kiddo is parked and I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, hey, and but just a way to also get them registered and be like, hey,
Yeah.
if you register in the next week. We're doing a session at the library, we can help you resolve it and you can get registered and. I don't know, just trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just getting people, pushing people. right?
Exactly,
So people are-
giving, you will pay this
And we can
ticket
give
or you can
grace,
just get online and do this.
obviously. We can
Yeah,
give a
we
lot
just
of
want people,
grace.
everybody to get signed up.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is once we hit that trigger on the May 1st, there will be kind of a conversation around when the ambassadors are running plates and it's clearly like a registered Idaho Springs and they're just not registered. It might be a conversation where there's like, okay, let's make sure they know that
Yeah.
that happens.
And maybe it's something like with the ticket, or maybe it's like, hey, you need to get registered, and it's more like an informational to the resident, just to kind of help out.
That's a good idea.
And is it county residents what is the,
It's county,
can park anywhere as well, so it's.
correct.
I just want to say that.
Yep, Idaho Springs and county residents, so all of Clear Creek. So based on the analytical financial data that you guys have, and we looked at a lot of things. Jessica and Gareth and I worked on a new rate structure. We've changed the rates a lot, we understand that. We're trying to find a happy medium in a place that the 2 hours for $5 was a hard push for the businesses. It landed in a way where businesses felt like it was decreasing the average spend in their businesses because people were forced to spend $5 for 2 hours. Whether this is true or not, I cannot tell you. We're trying to find this happy medium. There's also this flexibility standpoint. We get a lot of people asking for flexibility to extend just a half an hour, wanting to say, can I just stay a half an hour longer? I went and rode the trails. I want to go to Yards for a beer, but I don't want to pay for an extra hour. So how do we market it from a sense? Now, as you can say, those half an hours are incrementally more expensive. You can still buy the 2 hours at the discounted price. So the 6 hours, $6 for 2 hours is available at all times. So, and the hope is to market that that's the way to go. So with the new rate structure, what I'm proposing and the Business Community Promotion Board is promoting is we also complement that with a marketing strategy that talks about how to visit Idaho Springs correctly, making sure people understand, hey, you drive in, we're a managed parking community. Did you know you can pay for parking in these different ways? Did you know if you pay for 2 hours, you're getting a discount? Like, did you know you can extend by the half an hour? You want to stay a little longer and go shopping, you can extend a half an hour. So kind of hoping that this rate structure creates more of that incentive. We got a lot of very good feedback from the 50 cent. Having that 50 cents as your first half an hour, it's the number one we saw a lot of takers.
Yeah.
And almost 90% stay longer. So they then extend past that 50 cent rate. So that's really something that we're wanting to keep. And then again, giving that option to purchase by the half an hour if needed. And then that 2 hour, $6 rate kind of gives you that discounted rate. So these are our recommendations. We worked pretty hard on this, dug into the data, how to get that average ticket up a little bit more, continue to entice people to stay longer by making more flexibility within the structure and the system. Behavior patterns from other places, Jessica says that half an hour add-on is a big incentive.
Yeah. People love that add-on, just like that half hour, just like Sadie was mentioning, they wanna grab a beer versus having to do another 2 full hours.
So I'm gonna apologize for a bit of a tangent. But we have always incentivized folks who are willing to walk a little further with a discount. And that's evident with the 103 lot. I think it should be at least $1 an hour. You know, what that would do, I think Interstate has made a very generous offer for the kids across the street with the school's parking lot, letting them keep the net from that. But if we go with $1 an hour, first of all, it's a bargain on the 103 lot. That would let them go $1 an hour for their 68 spaces, I think it is. And I'm saying that instead of like 50 cents or $2 all day or whatever, it may not really be worth them pulling the lever on this and doing it. But I think at $1 an hour, especially since they're closed all summer, they'll reap the benefit for the kids over there. And so that's my recommendation as we go. Ed, who is going to squawk about $1 an hour? You know, and pretty much for most of the summer, our that is monopolized to a great degree by the rafting folks.
Which they pay for,
Yeah.
like, that's not free
Yeah.
parking for them, their business users pay for that.
Just because I haven't paid for parking in a long time. It's the app where you can like extend it on the app.
Yeah.
Right, you can get a reminder, you get a text when your time's running out. Okay.
As long as you pay for it on the QR code and you
I know,
pay
that
for it
makes
on
me
your phone.
laugh.
If you buy it on the kiosk, like, there's not
Not
a
a
ton
reminder.
of
Okay.
like incentive or reminding there. You guys are working on that added, like, but if you buy it on your phone, you can extend, it sends you a text message and warns you, all of those things. As Guy mentioned, in the wayfinding plan, we have entryway signs that say, hey, you're entering into a paid parking zone, so that people can see right at the entries, at the gateways, which you guys will see that wayfinding package on the 23rd. Yes, on the 23rd, you'll see that. So we're working on ways to make sure people are educated and wanting to do, again, some marketing around, make sure the easiest way to pay for parking is via the QR codes, via your phone. Because again, that's the way you can extend and get easier access to it. What we also would like to launch this year is event parking. Offering event parking rates is a smart idea here. On 4th of July, Furling's Fest, any events we have in the downtown district, it would behoove us to have an event day rate, where even if you're staying for an hour or 2 hours, there's one rate, and we can put event parking signs up that say event parking, so people understand. If people come and they stay for 3 hours and they leave, then their space is still going to be charged at that premium rate. I'm only recommending the event day rate be activated in the areas in which the event is happening. So this year, that would only be in the downtown district. My goal would then be for next year, when we have events down at the East End and we're activating the mountain park and that area more, we consider activating the event rate on that end. However, for this year, my goal is just to test the event rate in the downtown district for things like Furling's Fest, 4th of July, Fall Festival, those kind of events within the system, also paired with a race event rate. meaning that Interstate can send a pre-registration link that we can send to all race organizers who they're going to be utilizing our parking for their races. The Georgetown Idaho Springs Half Marathon is the best example. Last year, we made parking free in the morning. We reduced our parking hours so that all of the racers could park back there and not have to worry about paying for parking halfway through the race, since our parking starts at a different time.
Yeah.
Instead of foregoing that, most racers are used to paying for a parking rate if they're going to be parking in a district. So we can provide race organizers with a race rate. We're suggesting 20 for events and $12 for races. We can send that to the race organizers, the Georgetown, Idaho Springs. They can send that to all their participants. They can pre-register for parking. Then we're guaranteed that revenue, when not necessarily are we guaranteed those racers coming in and supporting the businesses always. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but they tend to take up the entire back lot. We have 3 races this year where the downtown district will be pretty heavily impacted. Mount Blue Sky reopening means we have 2 Mount Blue Sky races coming back, where they will be utilizing the back lots for parking and then going all day and being gone up Mount Blue Sky and then coming back. So the best way the city can benefit is by gaining parking revenue from these racers.
Hey, I want to thank you for all of the work, and I, for one, I'm gonna go with your recommendation. I think makes a lot of sense. I'm excited to track it and see how we do. I'd like to go around and
The only thing I want to mention, Mayor, before we change is the lodging rate.
oh, yeah. I thought we were gonna cover that at another.
Nope, that's on this one, just so we can, this under the Business and Community Promotion Board recommendation. Right now, we only have one lodging purveyor that utilizes paid parking for their business. Right now, they have to go in and manually enter the license plate and how many hours of parking they're going to use for that one person.
Yeah, either they do it or the guest does it.
And it's not very fair, because frankly, a lot of folks have checked out before the paid parking even starts.
Yeah.
Or they came in and the parking was over.
It's more so for those multi-use stays,
Mhm.
and the hotel doesn't think that they should pay the full day rate.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what
And
they,
I think there's truth to be told there.
I think it's also an ease of access, where if we have we have one lodging purveyor that's doing this right now, where we would like to be able to have that guest registered for parking similar to what they would be as a resident, so they can then traverse the city and not have to worry about paying for parking within the city, and they could go and visit multiple spaces within the city, and they're still paying a day rate that covers them. It's also not as burdensome on the lodging purveyor to have to go in and do all of this manual stuff if we could offer a simple day rate to the lodging purveyors. As of right now, like I said, we only have one lodging purveyor in the downtown district and no lodging purveyors on the east end that are using paid city parking. So it would be really up to the council. This has been discussed multiple times. I will say this lodging purveyor is a little frustrated because they have now asked multiple times for a resolution and have yet to see a resolution. So with county or with council's approval, Jessica and I would like to solve this for
I would
them.
like that too, because I am tired of that lodging purveyor putting out cones and blocking parking.
Right.
Exactly,
It's like my residents notice it and they're like, Lisa, why is this happening?
exactly.
And I understand that they're frustrated, but that is not the way to go about it.
You're right.
Exactly. So this would solve for all of that by just creating a registration system similar to racers. They can send it out in advance. Their guests can pre-register for the day rate, and then they can park wherever they want within the system, and it would be less of a burden. We are recommending a slightly discounted. I did put a range in there between $15 and $20. I think that's council's recommendation on how discounted you want to go. I will say, and Guy and I have discussed this, it does set a precedent for when new lodging purveyors, if they happen to come into the system. That's just something to know, but I will say that it will make ease of access much better. It will also reduce the other problems we're having.
could you do, like there's a $10 or $15
regular rate, but then if it's on 4th of July or any of our holidays, any of our big races, if they happen to be staying here in town,
We'll have to.
anything like
Yeah.
that they get charged more
Yeah.
just based upon.
Even the full rate, so we could do like a regular rate and then like a peak season.
Mhm. Or like a peak
Identify.
weekend, peak.
Yeah.
It
Great.
doesn't peak, it doesn't just have to be all summer, but when we have these big events that we have going on where
Right.
parking is really,
Well, and
really.
4th of July, I'm sorry, I mean, I think $20 for all day at 4th of July is a steal.
That is a steal.
Because people show up
It'd be
here.
like $50.
No, actually, it actually.
We were voting to start low. I was like, let's just go on the low. I mean, I will say that last year on 4th of July, we did have a lot of violations on 4th of July. So this might just reduce that just a little bit, because we had a lot of violations. We just had a lot of people that didn't pay. for
And even if you just start ease people in, like, oh, it's $25, $30 to come up for the day, and then
Yeah.
next year, it's $35, just
Mhm.
ease them in.
No,
so
because
they're-
people come in at 8 AM and then they stay all day.
All day.
So what's the question about the policy that is if somebody comes in, it's 4th of July and they pay $50, let's say they pay $20 to rate. But if they leave, they don't have any expectation of coming back and getting that spot. Once they leave, it's gone.
Yep.
So they have to park, so that probably needs to be enunciated in the policy, so people don't assume that they've leased a spot the entire day.
Oh, yeah.
Not the
They have to
spot, but
stay
they
there.
get to still be within the city.
They still get to be
Right,
but
within the
not in,
city.
not a
Because
particular
they're already
spot.
paid
But
for
there,
their
but
place.
there should be no understanding that they
We
get,
can
if
put
they
that in a
leave, they
little
get
word
parking
verbiage.
Yeah.
anywhere in the city. Those 4th of
Yeah.
July, every spot's taken.
Well, and
So if you
also,
come, I'm sorry,
no, you go ahead.
if you come in and say, I paid my $20, but then I'm gonna leave. And they're expecting to come back to their spot, they can't have that spot.
Yeah.
And they can't, if there's no other place to park in town,
Yeah, make sure the wording
Yeah,
covers.
city event wording, especially on 4th of July, that's good.
And then, Sadie, I notice your, light touch, when we are in the very empty,
Yeah.
periods.
So again, we've still been seeing, and this is something Gareth and I have talked a lot about. What we would like to do is use the event season and our partnership through the event season to really market what paid parking is in Idaho Springs and what it does and what it's good for. Because we are still seeing the bitter taste in the mouth from the citations. It just happens. It's something that's a constant conversation. I'm sure Andy Guy and I would love to never talk about it again. But we talk about it a lot. And so something that's been pretty consistent is that if, and we've talked a lot about this, is that if the lots are lower than 50%, we're doing more of a light, we're recommending a light touch on enforcement. Meaning if there's 10 cars in the back lots and one of those 10 cars didn't pay or hasn't extended their half an hour, not ticketing the one car in the parking lot, because it just sends the wrong message. And the taste, especially from the business owners right now, as we're seeing the economy tighten, is we want to be as friendly and as welcoming as we possibly can. And so if our lots are empty, it's sends the wrong message. We're like hungry for them. We're fighting for these enforcements where, again, anytime it's over, when we have lots of cars, obviously enforcement is heavily needed and we want that.
And, I think we're all delighted to see that possibly the Catholic Church and the Wellness Center, may be coming online. They are just, very welcome. We love to see the additional parking, particularly when it is so underutilized. In the case of the church, we all know it, not the stereotype that basically after Sunday morning, it's gonna sit vacant for like the rest of the week. And the Health and Wellness Center over the long weekends, they may have 4 spaces that they need for long-term vehicle storage. But other than that, there's about 32 spots normally over there. And the county might as well reap the benefit from some extra dough.
People ask me all the time if they can park there. I use the Elks, my commissary kitchen, so
Yeah.
I'm there. Can I park here? And they'll pull up
We're
with their
trying
camper
to
and
get
they'll take
the,
up
we're trying to
9
get the,
spots.
we're trying to get the Elks. to-
I got a contact for you there. So I think we have
Wait,
a
I'm gonna
final
just
line.
tell you, you're not gonna get
Yeah.
that from the Elks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
We have a line of you to talk about.
Lisa would know.
Yeah, Lisa would know.
And by the way, I have tried for a very long time.
Yeah.
Just one other thing too, when we start to do those flat rates too, as we move through the program and get more data analytics, you can do things like it's $30 for 4 hours, right? So you can get those turns, right? So you're not just saying, okay, you pay $30 and you can be here all day. Really, we want, whatever we determine is the amount of time we want them to stay on July 1st, July 4th. Yeah, we can set that parameter, right? So you get the turns. 'Cause the idea.
Going anywhere.
Yeah,
But a lot of people, to get that turn, you can play all those kind of games. with the analytics.
And the nice thing is by launching it this year, like I said, with the full system on the east end being open, this is the first year we can really have the capacity to kind of start seeing where the turn is, how many people park downtown or park over there and then come over here, because again, we're trying to look at all of those analytics and how they're moving within the system and how we can incentivize them to stay longer and move within the system.
I do have one request, and it's from my side of town, because my side of town is more residential parking. And that does, like, can we maybe have an extra ambassador on 4th of July, because man, the residents get hot. And that's also gonna coincide with opening up the field house. So we're already going to have an extra 185 cars, maybe, I don't know. And then you put 4th of July on there and the residents are like they're blocking off streets, and I would really like to avoid that.
Yeah.
Well, all
So
right.
that's all I have to say.
I appreciate it. We have one more item, to go over, with Wonder. And, does anybody have anything, final for Sadie?
So we're good with my
Well,
recommendation?
thank you
Yeah,
very
yeah,
much.
no, yes. So that's all I need, right? Is a yes?
Okay, well, we don't take official.
Well, I know, but your tone,
We would need a formal action on that.
right, so then for next council, I can
Correct.
submit
May
this
I
and say, will you please?
informally
adopt?
ask, if
Yeah.
folks would be so
Perfect.
inclined to approve the, Janine, what are you thinking? Sharon, you thinking?
Sorry, my kid texted me right now. He called me and I got nervous. I don't have any questions about, I typed it out,
All right.
my
All right, well,
concerns.
generally speaking, it was very well received.
Great, then I will submit it for Andy for next council.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank y'all, bye.
Thank you.
And, let me, thank you, let me, apologize in advance, to council and any, potential viewers online. We may start a little late, but I don't think really, maybe 10 minutes or something, just because, I don't want to rush, Wonder and Guy with a really wonderful measuring tool that we now have. We are gonna get a lot out of it. There's much to be gained.
I agree.
And particularly where we kind of have a yardstick to measure by before the bike park opens, before the gondola is going. And I know for me, and I don't know about you, but looking at it just in your packet, I was astounded that East End on a year by year basis actually does a little more than the downtown.
I was wondering what do we consider east and what do we consider west?
I'm
Like,
just
where's
gonna-
the dividing
I have
line?
to stay very vague, because
Okay.
I'm sworn to and sign contracts and things, but I'm just gonna say 19th. And there's not really a 19th, so that's an
So that's
invisible
a,
line.
that is,
Yes.
okay.
Well, it's basically Soda Creek, if you drew a line. at
No, it's not Soda Creek.
Oh.
That is a definitive street. It's 19.
There is 19th, I used to live on it. I used to live on 19th, there's 2
Hey.
houses.
Is it an alley?
No, 19th Avenue.
She's right, there's that.
There is a 19th Avenue, that's got 2 houses.
Right over here?
Is it Riverside?
No, so if you come from Virginia
Virginia.
and Wall,
Oh,
right behind the castle,
Right.
it has 2 houses.
yes,
So basically,
There.
a block
Oh,
of
houses.
Virginia can't.
yes.
The straw line.
Correct.
Okay.
But, I don't know who wanted to start us off, either Guy or Wonder, but first of all, I want to thank both of you, for the work on this. Because this is gonna pay big dividends for years to come.
Well, I'll start.
Please.
In my mind, since I've been here, and with parking and with the activation of the, Virginia Mountain, gondola going in and everything, I was seeing kind of 2 economic centers for the community. And so I said, well, I wanna know how to measure these. And when you do taxes, we can only report to you taxes in a genre, a category. We can't say, we can say gas and convenience stores, but we can't name, you know, Ed's gas station.
Yeah.
Guy's gas station, you know, it has to be, so you'll notice some of these are broken out east and the west. That's because there's enough participating businesses that you wouldn't be able to know exactly how much somebody was filing. And they have a right to privacy, and so we have to adhere to that. So food and beverage, retail service and gas convenience, both have enough businesses on each side of the community, east and west, that we can break it out and measure it. The others didn't, so that's why they've been left in a lump sum. But still, what we wanted to do is try to figure a way to measure industry and location. And so Wonder tackled this, and I think it's fantastic what she did, and she has ran it through our legal counsel. So what you're seeing is vetted and approved, and please.
It absolutely is. And I do also think it provides a lot of benefit for the reasons you stated, like the Mountain Park being open, the field house apartments, let's say for remote, such things like that, just to see what kind of increases we do get in town as a whole. So I was happy to go through this and I learned a lot of things. So it was actually quite a fun project.
Good.
And I think it will be very helpful to everything that council is trying to obtain from this. I think this will do the job.
So we're going to issue every month the normal sales tax report that we've given, that grid,
Highlighted.
right, highlighted. And then we'll issue this one as well, that'll give you the detail. And hopefully between those two, like we've talked about, I don't particularly care what you guys are arguing over as long as the data is correct.
Yeah.
And that's what all we're trying to do is get you as drilled down data as possible so that the community can have discussions and the policymakers can make the best educated decisions you can.
Sharon, any questions for Guy or Wonder?
No. What I thought, is my catering business considered food and beverage, or am I considered a retail service? That was one thing
I
that popped into
cannot
my head.
identify your business in particular. Sorry.
So much.
We may have a new breakout category.
Sharon, no, I think it's great. It's very interesting. I find this very interesting, so.
And you also
Thank you for putting
notice,
all the
depending on what months, sometimes the East End is running away from downtown like 1.5 times.
Yeah.
And then other months,
The west side.
the right downtown is a little bit more, but so very, very interesting,
Mhm.
the cyclical nature of the year. Janine, any questions?
No questions, just thank you for your work. It is very interesting.
All right, Lisa?
This is fantastic, and I love this because I've always thought that East End was an economic driver. This shows you that East End is it is an equal partner.
Yeah.
And sometimes a better partner
Mm.
than downtown. So I think this is a good thing for our East End businesses who maybe have sometimes felt like, they were the middle child.
Right.
Yeah, and they were not, but this to me says our entire town, it's necessary for our whole town to be working well.
Mhm.
Otherwise, the whole town suffers.
Yep.
It's pretty equal. It
So we'll
is.
say like touristy and residents in my mind, it seems pretty equal, which is what we want, right? Happy medium for everyone.
Yeah. Well, thank you both. That will conclude the work session. It's 7:01, so I'd ask that we take about 4 or 5 minutes for a comfort break, and we'll meet back here in about 5 minutes for a regular session.
Sharon, kids.
I've had it.
Oh,
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you.
I got a couple.
I didn't see it. I think I was really tired the last meeting.
He said on the secretary.
Yeah. I just didn't see it.
Sounds like you did a bunch of work.
Tired, but then we did.
Well, I did on my Monday, it was at 6:45.
Oh,
So I'm tired.
Yeah, I've been in the kitchen all right now. I start at 3.
I'm well, thank you.
The knees aren't working. Oh,
I was skiing yesterday.
oh my knees.
It was fantastic.
Oh, good. I think I would be cruel.
Person?
No, I didn't. Like the second I got home, I was like. Ew.
Ready, Nick?
Thanks for coming in.
Is that good?
Is that how big kids do it?
I think so.
It's a legal counsel.
They're doing stuff. They'll try to put my back.
It's really forward, it's what people want, so. They can walk by while I'm sitting. Oh, that's true. Oh, of course.
Yeah, you want me to stay here?
Yeah, we were talking about this 3 years in a row.
I thought Jeremy was in here. Where did he go?
Well, he was, when he was outside earlier, he said that he was only gonna be here for a little bit.
Oh.
And I saw him here, and then he just poof, up and vanished.
One guy.
He stuck out like a hole in the wall behind the poster over there, or something, 'cause I didn't even see him go.
It also could be a good sign. There's no kind of assessments. Like Barclays.
It'd be hard to nail it down.
It's a regular lifestyle.
Number, I'm sure.
I have.
Oh, I have his number. I got your number.
Tracking it.
You do my license tracker.
Let me ask you.
One of the things that we are using now, or just started on, moving forward with that is data for the county. Counting the data
How was that?
by hour, by day,
Like amount of people that are on the offer,
that are coming, yeah.
No, I think it was.
South there, very interesting to see that.
for the amount of cars. One of the shocks,
It'll be like 50 one day.
Sadie came up with the, number of cell phones today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a massive amount.
We did nothing.
Right.
Cell phone.
I was forced to, population way higher than me, though.
Real
Just to guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I can't believe cardboard.
When
they built this,
They
would push this out like.
I wondered if she was always looking back.
Is that really a deal breaker?
People just don't realize.
6 when he knew you.
Yeah. Right, well, they do a lot of like.
That's true, that's
She
true.
don't think you're cool?
Delicious, economic resilience.
Thank you very much.
Very nice. Yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate
I
that.
really like how we place that. By the way, took gas stations.
Meatballs. Yeah.
This was her only request. She goes,
It is.
square peg and I said, matter of fact, they are. If she has her meatballs, would you bring me some? I said, well, if she has enough.
And I did.
You did.
Next day.
I always feel like 2 is probably enough per person, but everybody loves those meatballs.
Yeah, I
2
know.
per person, that would be.
They really do.
You do?
Say everybody.
I was like, why? Yeah. I think it helps that we have manja, so it's like, oh, taste the manja.
Yeah, you know what else is great? Of all things, your salad with the pistachio.
And I was like,
Oh,
yeah.
you're great.
Yep. I still do that. I still do signature salad.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just call it my signature.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants manja.
Oh, yeah.
So.
No, that one I did not.
Gentlemen, no rush, but just let me know when we're good. We're ready. We're good, okay?
Sure.
I would like to welcome everyone to the Monday, March 9th, 2026 regular council meeting. And we will call it to order at 7:07.
Sorry, receipt. Sorry. So you get through.
All right. Let me test it quick. I think it's back. Let's just. Okay, it's back.
All right, interesting. My audio also is cutting out. All right, I was just about ready to explain the order of this hearing. Will be as follows. We're going to, I will invite city staff to give a presentation of the ordinance. Council may ask questions of staff. I will invite public comment on the ordinance. Council may ask questions related to any of the public comment. I will close the hearing and I will ask council for a motion on the ordinance. Any questions before we begin? All right, then Dylan, please come on up and we'd like to hear what you have to say on this ordinance.
Sure, thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, just a correction is a resolution. The main it's that we're dealing with. This particular.
And thank you on this resolution. Actually, it's misspelled on my spiel.
No problem.
All right. Thank you, Andy.
All right, so as the title suggests, the request is for a minor subdivision. This is located at what is otherwise known as Blackstone Ridge Ranch, so about 4 miles up Highway 103. This application, in accordance with state requirements, was referred to all necessary bodies and was sent with a public notice to necessary adjacent properties. So the request is to split this lot zone commercial interchange development, or C3, into 5 lots. No proposed zoning changes are requested, nor are any uses at this time proposed to change. This property has been in the city since it was annexed in 2007. And yes, and like I said, in the future, if there may be changes in use, and if that were to occur, they would have to go through the relevant process. At this time, this is just a review of the minor subdivision. There are 5 criteria for approval of minor subdivision. The first is not relevant because there's no preliminary plat. The second looks at whether all requirements of subdivision regulations are met. Staff believes this is the case, and we go into more detail in the staff report. The application is in conformance, we found, with applicable requirements of the zone district, which is C3. And as discussed in the report, all existing improvements will continue to meet requirements. Minimum lot sizes are met. Open space is still met. In general, staff found it is in conformance with applicable goals and policies of the comprehensive plan. It's identified as a transitional mixed-use area, lodging uses, event spaces, other commercial uses, multifamily housing. These would all be appropriate. Specifically, the plan talks about tourism-oriented hospitality uses, which are already on the site, and the applicant has stated that the goal is to provide more of these services in that area, additional lodging and supportive services. It also meets some objectives about supporting tourism and incentivizing economic development in this area. And then finally, the other thing we reviewed against is areas and activities of state interest, which talks about regulated projects which would cause excessive noise, pollution, or degradation to environmental quality, whether it promotes efficient and economical use of resources, and whether it protects public health, safety, welfare. Staff believe that this would be met with this minor subdivision. Like I mentioned, we referred it to relevant agencies and no one had issues that could not be addressed. So at this point, there was no one who was against the application. And at the Planning Commission meeting, which was on March 5th, they unanimously recommended approval. So with that, we recommend approval as staff.
Thank you, Dylan. And a housekeeping note, apologies to Wonder, though I did not verbalize it, I did start the hearing at 7:16.
Thank you.
And I'll open it up starting with Janine, any questions for staff?
No.
All right, I don't have any either. Sharon?
No.
Lisa?
No, that was very clear.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Very good. Like to open it up, I'm assuming there hasn't been anyone just recently come online that wants to comment on this.
I don't have anyone online. I asked for anyone who wanted to comment to raise their hand and no one has.
All right, then that will conclude, public comment as, we have, no one, had signed up. I will ask, just as a professional, courtesy, does the applicant wish to say anything? You certainly may, or, it's totally up to you.
Oh, I'll just give a brief comment. It's pretty straightforward.
You please state your name and address for the record.
Rachel Betts, 3669 Chicago Creek Road, Idaho Springs, Colorado, 80452.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Very, we're very early on in the process, working on feasibility studies and so forth, but our goal is big picture to take Blackstone to the next level in a thoughtful way. And we know that our clients want more lodging, would really prefer to have more lodging on site at Blackstone. And so that's one of the primary goals is lot 4, which you can see in front of you. When we did our site plan for the property, we identified a building envelope for an 18-room hotel. That's our immediate focus with our feasibility studies. So we'd like to bring in some more lodging. We're exploring the potential for a second wedding venue site on property as well. And just in the early stages to see what comes next. So this will help us possibly find a partner to build the lodging there, but keeping the businesses separate because we don't love the lodging business as much as the wedding business. So we should have probably something more solid to discuss in the next year. And that's it.
All right.
No current changes of use or construction of anything.
All right, well, thank you. I will ask if council has any further questions before I conclude the meeting. Well, thank you very much for coming in. I will close this hearing at 7:23. And any discussion before the motion?
My big concern was parking and they're not doing anything, but even as an expansion, that area has enough places for parking and water and sewage, and because that's part of the report.
Right.
I don't have any issues.
Well, thank you, Lisa. Any further discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'm going to approve the resolution approving the Columbus Placer minor subdivision plat.
Thank you, Lisa. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Janine. And any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Sharon Bassist. Yes. Lisa Manifold. Yes. Janine Mariani.
Yes.
Mayor Chuck Harmon.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. I would like to thank the vets for coming in and being a continued very valuable business partner with the city, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your support.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Good.
And not to be outdone, we have one more public hearing on ordinance number 3. And this is going to be a City of Idaho Springs agenda item 15A for March 9th, 2026. Public hearing on ordinance number 3, series 2026, an ordinance amending section 21-131 of the Idaho Springs Municipal Code concerning parking space dimensions. The next agenda item, and I'm going to apologize for the repetitious nature, is a public hearing on ordinance number 3, series 2026. This ordinance amends section 21-131 of the Idaho Springs Municipal Code concerning parking space dimensions. Under state statute, this ordinance requires a public hearing. And the order of this hearing will be as follows. I will invite city staff to give a presentation of the resolution. Council may ask questions of staff. I invite public comment on the resolution. Council may ask questions related to any of the public comment. I will close the hearing and I will ask council for a motion on the ordinance. Any questions before we begin? All right, then I will call this hearing to order at 7:26. And Dylan, thank you for anticipating, but welcome. And I would invite you to give your presentation.
Sure. Well, thank you, Mayor. This proposal should not be too unfamiliar, as we talked about it at work session a month or so ago. The proposed code amendment would do four things broadly, I guess two real things. The first is to reduce the required parking space width from 9 feet to 8.5 feet, which will allow slightly narrower parking spaces, which allows slightly more parking, both in our city lots and potentially on other lots around the city for private property owners. This is in keeping with a number of other cities around the state who don't generally have, as far as I can tell, there's no issues with 8.5 feet widths other than large vehicles have a little tight. But it could add, I'd say in the rear lots, at least a dozen or so additional spaces if we were to stripe. So that could be a benefit to add parking at a relatively low cost. But this ordinance also does a few other things. It establishes a few standards that we don't currently have. That's for compact spaces, parallel spaces, and oversized spaces. We of course already have spaces like this around the city. Example, parallel spaces in general, we have an average length of 22 feet. We're proposing to just standardize that. For oversized spaces, generally jurisdictions just double the size of the parallel space, so that would be 44 feet. And for compact spaces, this is something that's common in a lot of places. Probably wouldn't work for an entire lot, but where you otherwise couldn't fit traditional space, this could be a way of maximizing parking. We don't currently have a standard. This ordinance would create a standard of 7.5 feet wide by 16 feet long. I guess that staff would recommend approval, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Dylan, thank you. Like to start off and see if council has any questions with Lisa. Sure. Nope. I have none either, although I do want to thank you for taking the time and checking with other municipalities. I just happen to know Denver's one of those that has the same size. And Janine?
Question.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I am just double checking to ensure we do not have any public comment on this.
I don't see any hands raised to provide public comments.
All right, then thank you. That will conclude public comment. Any further questions or comments before I close the hearing? Hearing none, we will call it closed at 7:29. And do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 3 series 2026, amending section 21-131 of the Idaho Springs Municipal Code concerning parking space dimension.
Thank you, Sharon. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Elisa. And any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Janine Mariani.
Yes.
Lisa Manifold.
Yes.
Sharon Bassist.
Yes.
Mayor Chuck Harmon.
Yes. All right, next up is ordinance number 4. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve ordinance number 4, series 2026, and ordinance amending sections 12-60 and 12-61 of the Idaho Springs Municipal Code to clarify how multipliers are used to calculate tap and service fees.
Thank you, Janine. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second from Sharon. And any discussion?
This,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I just remember like we got some public comment about the way this was calculated. Is this like seeking to change something or just clarify how it was already happening?
I think to try to put in more layman's terms.
Okay,
Or easier, just try to communicate how that works.
Okay.
Because it's very.
so it's not
Understand.
changed, it's just,
I think that was well put, Wonder.
Thank you.
Exactly. Any further comments?
I think this is good because I know particularly with section 3, the separate multiplier for each use,
Right.
that has been something that has created some distress as far as how people view their water bills.
Any further comment? All right, hearing none, roll call, please.
Lisa Manifold. Yes. Janine Mariani.
yes.
Sharon Basis,
Yes.
Mayor Chuck Harmon.
Yes. And last of our ordinances would be a motion to approve ordinance number 5. Do we have a motion?
I'll motion to approve ordinance number 5, series 2026, an ordinance amending section 1 through 8 of the Idaho Springs Municipal Code to provide maximum penalties for municipal offenses that prohibit the same conduct as state offenses.
Thank you, Lisa. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Sharon. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Lisa Manifold,
Yes.
Sharon Basis,
Yes.
Janine Mariani,
Yes.
Mayor Chuck Harmon.
Yes. Do we have a city attorney with us tonight?
Yes, you do, Mayor.
Well, Carmen, welcome if you're with us.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me okay?
As she's talking, but like it's coming up, she's talking, but there's no audio.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Carmen, if you can just bear with us for a moment, we were having some technical difficulties.
She sent a chat saying that she has nothing to say.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank
Thanks for
you.
being-
Thank you very much. I appreciate you being with us tonight. And we will move to the city administrator. Andy, thank you for your report, and you have no request for action. Wanted to make sure you didn't have anything further to share with us tonight.
Nothing further. Thank you.
All right. And then Guy, just checking in, make sure you didn't have anything further for us.
Nothing further.
Okay, thank you. And then Dylan, no request for action, but want to make sure you didn't have anything further.
Nothing else from me.
All right,
If
all
I
right.
may,
Well,
Chuck?
thank you.
Chuck,
Oh, yeah,
before we
sure.
go on from Dylan, I see that we're doing the trail concept and next steps for Virginia Canyon Mountain Park. I'm really, really glad to see that Kumba is working with some conceptual ideas for hiking only plans. I know I feel pretty strongly about it. I think some members on council feel pretty strongly about it. I'm very glad to see that our partners are hearing this with us.
Yeah, I know they're going to be involving Youth Corps to construct a trail to one of the peaks up there. So that'd be very well received.
And I might add that we are going to have a work session item on this topic, the first meeting in April.
Good,
That's coming up.
good.
And Wonder, thank you for your staff report. Very interesting. We were down about 7.5%.
Yeah.
I suppose we've been fortunate that it hasn't hit us earlier.
Right.
And again, a big thank you for your help on this very valuable breakdown on your reports. But we'll really be looking forward to those. And just wanted to make sure you didn't have anything further to share with us.
Thanks, my head out.
All right, well, thank you. Chief, another interesting report. Always some type of a situation that's pretty amazing. Wanted to see if you had anything further for us tonight.
Just real quick, Mayor and Council, if you do get a chance to check out our video that we posted on social media just recently, I would recommend you take a look at that because that was
basically, it's a video about our body cameras and how they use the real-time translation feature. And so we just, I mean, that's council, when you renewed the contract for the 2026 budget, that's what you paid for one of those features, which it wasn't crazy expensive or anything like that, but there's definitely, we showed 3 little interactions with people that couldn't speak English, and it was nice to be able to see and show and demonstrate the officers using that tool. And so, and they actually absolutely love it.
Well,
They're
that is
making a traffic stop, they're not having to fumble with their cell phone or call some line or
Yeah,
figure something out. It's literally right there, hands-free, basically.
wow, well, that is great. Oh, Wonder.
I saw the video, and so it's like all languages, right? Does it do all languages? Because it was
It
Korean.
does over 50 languages.
That's great, that's cool.
I also saw the video and you could see people were very happy that they could speak, be understood and understand you.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was
And with
great. It's great.
hands-free is huge. Hands-free is huge.
It's really a great tool.
All right.
So that's all I have.
Well, that's great. Hey, Ed, before we move to you, I want you to know, by my count, there was something like somewhere, I don't know, 10, 12 inches of the heavy snow, wet snow came down Friday, finally ended like around dark. I took a ride 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. This town looked fabulous. I was floored. All of downtown was scraped out. The sidewalks from east end to west end. And with as limited staffing as your department has, I'm just saying a huge thank you and kudos to whoever you had working did an incredible job.
That's the Public Works team.
Yeah, they are amazing.
This is who these guys really were the whole time.
Yeah, they are doing an excellent job.
I would just say that attitude reflects leadership, so that says something for you.
Yeah, they're always grumpy.
Well, no, but I didn't get any phone calls, Ed, about snow, and I get phone calls and texts about snow. And I didn't get any at all.
Well, that's great. That's great.
A huge thank you, and I had to pass that on before we got into your report.
They took care of it.
Yes, they did.
I contacted Willie several times during the storm. And I was like, are you sure you don't want me to come in and plow snow? He knows I was working at the wastewater plant, like tons of hours.
Yeah.
And he was all like, no, we got this. No, we got this. Right. Well, call me if you need me. And he had it. And they did it.
Yeah, that was amazing. And you do have a request for action. I would ask for a motion.
Move to approve a proposal from ORC Water Professionals to provide a full-time operator in responsible charge, ORC, for the water and wastewater plants in the amount of $14,845 per month, split between line items 51-0-00-5000 and 52-00-5000.
Thank you, Janine. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Lisa. And any discussion?
Question. So it ends up being $178,000 a year for that person. Is that in line with what would usually be a salary for that person?
Well, it's actually from a contractor, ORC. So it is more than what we would usually be able to hire an ORC to do.
But Ed, would you also tell what your other quote was?
40,000
a month.
Oh, a month.
That was from the same company, but with extra people.
Right.
And
Okay,
we
so this is
hired
just
extra
for
people
one.
on so we could chop that down a little bit.
Okay,
I've been the ORC at the plant for, 5 years. So, and it doesn't seem like it's a terrible deal. But I'm moving on to different things. And it'll free me up to concentrate on other things that are going on in town.
and you probably don't have to train this person because
No.
they know what they're
I
doing.
mean, there might be a little bit of that, but Nothing huge.
Okay.
And Ed, we are actively trying to recruit someone for this position.
We are.
Okay.
So far the ad's been out for, I don't know, 3 weeks or so, maybe a month. And we've gotten one.
So this is like a temporary solution until we hire somebody? Is that
It
correct? or-
can be,
It can be.
yes, but it can also go on.
Yeah.
Right, so by hiring this contracted company, they also have backup to their backup and have a whole team of folks figuring out what it is the state wants and how to stay in compliance with it.
And then the rates, the rate sheet that's attached to it, is that additional costs that could be if we need to get arsenic, if we need to get cadmium?
But now we
Or
already
is that-
do our own sampling.
Okay.
And we have our own sampling plan
Okay,
that I expect that we'll stick with that
okay.
and not have to use any of their additional charges section.
Okay.
All right. Well, we have a motion from Janine, a second from Lisa, and I just want to see, are there any further questions? Hearing none, now roll call, please.
Janine Mariani,
Yes.
Sharon Basis.
Yes.
Lisa Manifold,
Yes.
Mayor Chuck Harmon.
Yes. And Ed, thank you. Good photos. I was a little surprised that that pipe with the saddle pulled away and hadn't already been strapped. So now I saw that part of your repair is to reconnect that and put on a strap.
And then to strap that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyways, I can certainly see how that was problematic for the operation over there. And did you have other things to share with us tonight?
I didn't have anything. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, well, thank you, Ed. Really appreciate it. I don't have anything tonight myself. I'll just go around and see, does anybody have anything, Janine?
Just want to send my apologies for the March 23rd meeting. I will not be here.
Oh, okay, all right,
Just letting you know that.
all right, okay.
Hopefully there's more than what we have tonight.
Okay. And Sharon?
I don't have anything.
All right, Lisa?
Nope.
All right, I don't have anything either, so I want to thank everybody.